Okay, so I'm going to start off with the childhood. It starts off as happy, carefree in the beginning, but then it just goes downhill. The narrator mom dies, and then the narrator is sent to live with and work for her mother's mistress. The grandmother was smart, faithful, that the owners treated her well. They let her stay up all night to work on her business, to have money to pay for her own clothes out of that profit. One day, the grandmother's mistress asked to borrow the $300. When I read that, I didn't think good things, and I don't really think anyone did. She hasn't read a single book, and she was just so oblivious to, I guess, that situation, only because I would not give my master or the person that owns me that money that I earned, even though you probably should, just because if you say no to them, you don't, anything could happen to you. But also, she hasn't read anything, so she was so, like I said, so oblivious to it. And she was like, sure, take all my money, you'll pay me back. Come on now. Now going to chapter 20, the new pearls. I think that's how you say it. They're trying a new tactic. Dr. Flint has Uncle Philip arrested and jailed. I guess now he's sorry that he came back to the South. Even after Philip is eventually released, Dr. Flint stakes out Aunt Martha's house. And now it's time for a new hiding place. Also, through chapters 17 through 20, she escapes from Dr. Flint's plantation and heads for her grandmother's house, where she persuades Sally, a should-be faithful friend, to help her reach the home of another friend who hides in the closet. After hiding at her friend's home for a week, Linda persuaders come in closely. They come into the house, and she flees. She leaves that house, and she's hides in the bushes where she was bit by a reptile, which I think basically or could be a snake. And she's in nearby bushes, and now she's in excruciating pain because she was bit by a poisonous reptile. And then she returns to her friend's house, where she is treated with homemade medicine. Linda contacts some relatives who advise her to return to her master and beg for his forgiveness, and will accept her punishment. But when her friend informs her family of the pain and suffering Linda has endured in the struggle to remain free, they stop trying to convince her to go back. Her grandmother enlists an aid of a woman she has known since her childhood, who offers to help her escape and agrees to let her stay at home until she can get to the Free States. The woman arranged for her cook, Betty, to meet Linda at a designated place and bring her home. When Linda receives a message, a friend at a secret location, she's surprised to discover that the friend is Betty. Betty escorts her back to her mistress' house and brings her supper and shows her a new hiding place. And it's an old storage room. And then in chapter 21, it starts with like Linda hides in her grandmother's attic. It's like dark, cramped. It's infested with mice, rats, and little red insects. She's able to see her children through like a small peephole in the wood, but she can't communicate with them. And I can't imagine how hard that could be. Even like I would try to get their attention, but when I'm in hiding, obviously you have to be the quietest you can be. She suffers from like ills like a fever, frostbite, and then Dr. Flint tries to bribe her children into telling her where Linda is. Also, in chapter 20, going with chapter 22, Linda starts to describe like the rituals and festivity like around Christmas, and focusing on the, I think, John Connors dancers. I'm not really sure how you say it. And she discusses her grandmother's two special guests. It's the town constable and the furry colored man that tries to pass for white. And they are invited to convince them that Linda is nowhere near the grandmother's house. Also in chapter 3, it's the slaves' New Year Day. Linda focuses on the traditions and celebrations in the black community, and Christmas is a joyous occasion for both races. Although, like, the black community festivities are overshadowed by the knowledge that Hiring Day is like the day where slaves are expected to leave their families and go with their new ones, like their master's family. The slaves do their best to create this festive atmosphere that focuses on the John Connors dancers that enslaves black celebrate the festivities, indicates that they have retained some aspect of the culture inheritance despite enslavement. Chapters 23 to 25, like Linda continues to hide in the attic, but when she learns that Mr. Stand has been elected to Congress and will leave for Washington shortly, she risks revealing her hiding spot to beg him to free her children before he leaves. And he agrees to do what he can. And I feel like when he's agreeing to do what he can, that's not special to me. I can't find the right word, but like I feel like that's a good thing, because I'm not promising you that I will free them. I'm promising you like I would try my best to try to free them. So now he won't let her down when he's not able to do what she exactly wants. And after Mr. Sand leaves, Linda writes numerous letters to Dr. Flint, and the help of her friends has them postmarked from New York to trick Dr. Flint that she has left the state. She is determined to trick and outwit Dr. Flint. And this may bring to mind with the experience of Penelope. Not Penelope. Just okay. Okay. And chapters like 26 to 29 were really interesting to me because she starts to receive like several letters from her brother William, who has gone to Washington with his master, Mr. Sands. Suddenly, the letters stop, and Linda learns that William has escaped. Initially, like, she fears for her children, thinking that Mr. Sands might have decided to sell them to make up for the loss of her brother. But Mr. Sands, who feels confident that William will return, is more surprised and disappointed by William's actions than angry. After overhearing her grandmother's conversation with the older woman whose children had been sold, Linda reminds herself of William's resolve to be free. But while I was reading this, it just makes me so upset somebody could do this to a human being. No matter their race, what religion they're practicing, what they believe in, anything. We're all humans, we're all the same, no matter what. It just, I can't imagine somebody going through this. I know it happened, and I feel like we should just talk about it more and actually know a lot more details. I would love to learn a lot more details of everything that happened in the past and how we could change what happened in this book. Even though a lot has changed, but there's still things going on around the world that should be changed. Everyone should be equal, be treated equal, have the same rights, everything.